welcome back. It's Vinh Ho of Global Trade, covering Asia's history, culture, technology, and trends. And today I've got a special guest, Benjamin Daggett.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm great, thanks.
Good stuff.
So today we're going to learn about Ben and his specific niche and what he does in Ho Chi Minh City. So Ben, maybe you can tell us a bit where you're from and how you ended up in Saigon.
Yeah, very interesting story. So I was actually born in a town called Harrogate in the UK. So originally from North Yorkshire, as you can tell by the deep accent. So not from London, not from the south, the other side of the UK. So I started off in the financial services industry, so that's what brought me over to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So a bit of history actually, I'll start off where I started out in my career. So I started off in Leeds, which is West Yorkshire, just outside of Harrogate where I live. I started off selling life and insurance products, so that's how I got my foot into the financial services industry originally. I then got an email one day which gave me the opportunity to take my career in the industry offshore. So I moved over to Marbella at the age of 18.
Wow.
So I'm 24 now, so still relatively young. Yeah, sure. So moved over to Marbella, did an internship over there with a company. That was a 6-week course, and then fell in love with the place, and we ended up there for around about 8 months to a year. So after Marbella, I then moved over to Malta. You mentioned earlier before we came onto the show that you spent some time in Malta.
Yes, I have been to Malta. Let's backtrack. Marbella, you said. Where is that? Where is
so
that?
It's just on the outskirts of Spain. So a party central, which is well known to a lot of people around the world. So when you're young, it's a great place to go, have a drink as well, meet new people. For lads' holidays as well, so it's quite a popular holiday destination for young people like myself when you're growing up in the UK.
I see. Okay, and then from there you ended up in Malta.
Correct.
All right. How long were you in Malta, and what were you doing there?
Yeah, sure. So I went over to Malta with the same company. So I was actually what we call a business development manager at the time. So I was training to become what we call a financial advisor or a wealth manager, as we say in the industry. So I was doing my exams over there, learning the ropes as well, sort of mirroring advisors in the company. So I had a really good time there. I learned a lot about the financial industry as well, especially across Europe. Sure. So after Malta, I then moved over to Abu Dhabi. So you're probably all familiar with Abu Dhabi.
Right, that's the Middle East.
It is, yeah. Okay. So it's the capital of the UAE. It's next to Dubai as well. So I spent 3 years there.
Wow.
Took my promotion to a financial advisor, wealth manager, and I had a really good time there as well. It was brilliant. So in my time travelling, starting off at a very young age, going as an expatriate abroad, I've learned so much about the financial industry, and things have changed as well. Again, we'll go into a bit more detail later on in the discussion about how it's changed as well.
How did you find Abu Dhabi? I hear a lot of good things and bad things. It's kind of a nice, kind of a foreign expat lifestyle, like the nouveau riche.
It's a good mix of life. So the good thing is living in Abu Dhabi, you have Dubai on the doorstep, which is good. So Dubai, a lot more sort of in your face, a fast-paced way of life, a bit similar to London, Ho Chi Minh City. So it's good to be there on the weekend, for people who are young and like to party. Even families, you've got your shopping malls there as well. Lots of sightseeing, the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in Dubai. So it's a good place. But you've got a good mix. So Abu Dhabi is on the doorstep, which is where I was living. So it's 30 minutes down the road. Abu Dhabi, more sort of a quiet destination, so not so much in your face. A bit more family orientated as well. Lots of nice beaches as well. So a good mixture of life and a good balance of everything, which is good.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then from Abu Dhabi, what happened after that?
I ended up in Ho Chi Minh City.
Okay, where we are today.
Exactly.
And then how did that come about? Like, how did that get into your mind? How did that become an opportunity?
Yeah, sure. So being young, I've always liked to travel the world and see, exactly what's going on. I just saw Asia, economically, it's progressing ahead now. Vietnam, it's an underdeveloped economy, and I think, over the next 10 years, there's going to be a lot of growth here. So, interesting story which I want to go into. So, when my mother was a young baby, in the Vietnam War, she was actually adopted. Okay. So believe it or not, I'm actually half Vietnamese.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, sure. So my dad's from Middlesbrough in the UK, which is from the north. So that's why I got the complexion a bit of Asian. So the company offered me a job. We were expanding the operations in Vietnam and Malaysia. So they gave me a choice, would you like to go to Vietnam? Would you like to go to Malaysia? So at the time I had no clue about Vietnam, even though my mum was born here. My family had never come back in 52 years. So went online, had a look at the office location. We're actually based at the Texco Financial Tower, which is the second tallest building in Ho Chi Minh City. Saw how developed the economy was, and very central location. Within a couple of weeks I was on the plane, and here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
So prior to coming here, you never stepped foot in Vietnam, never been traveling?
Never been back, no. So I think my mum wants to come back at some point as well. So it feels like one of them things. It's meant to be, good work balance, good way of life, and it's a lot cheaper as well than living over in the Middle East. Sure.
Okay. So how long have you been in Ho Chi Minh City, and how do you find the city? What are some of the perks?
Yeah, so lots of perks in Ho Chi Minh. So I came over in September 2019, towards the end of September. So not been here too long, around about 7-8 months now altogether. So the perks of the city, it's very cheap to live, which is good. I find the culture here as well, people are very friendly. The food's amazing, snails, fresh seafood, street food as well, things you don't get, in Europe and the Middle East. So a really good balance of life. The downsides, I'd say, probably the traffic, the bikes on the road. I've noticed as well over here the pollution as well is quite high, compared to other places where I've lived in the past. But more benefits than negatives for sure coming over there.
Now, you mentioned you see that the Vietnam economy is on the rise, there's opportunities. Can you elaborate on that, and maybe can you see some of the trends and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, Vietnam is an undeveloped city. Like you look at Abu Dhabi 10 years ago, they struck on the oil, lots of people moved in, there were lots of jobs, and Abu Dhabi as an economy grew massively. So I can see a similar sort of trend happening in Vietnam. Lots of people are coming in, purchasing land, Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, they're moving into the city. And I just think as well, from a development perspective, there's lots of tall buildings going up. We've got the railway development as well. And I just think, job-wise, there's a lot of opportunity here, especially for young people like myself. They can take advantage of the cheap living and come into the city as well. So lots of things really, investment perspective as well. There's lots of investment opportunities. The markets at the moment in Vietnam, are quite volatile. So this is why I'm over here at the moment, you see. So for someone like myself, with lots of expats moving over here, they want to sit down with someone, who is qualified, who can give advice to, Western expatriates as well, and sort of look at investing outside of Vietnam as opposed to investing in Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Sure.
Very interesting. Now, you mentioned your industries, you're in finance.
Correct.
So do you do financial planning or strategy? How do you help others, or what kind of services do you offer?
Yeah, sure. So someone like myself who is an expatriate, I'll give you an example. When we move abroad, there's not many options. People like to feel a bit more homely when they look at financial planning, okay? So effectively, I specialise in a lot of things. So, insurance, offshore banking, real estate. Myself, I mainly specialise in the investment side of things. So offshore investments, things like PPBs, what we call the personal portfolio bond, regular saving plans. So if people are looking to save money and they move abroad to Vietnam, a lot of expats, they want to put the money outside of Vietnam for numerous reasons. So that's what I specialise in.
Okay, financial planning, assisting others with that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're about 7 months in. Do you foresee yourself being here for the next couple of years, or how long is that?
Sure. So like I said, I've fallen in love with Vietnam as a whole. I've got lots of clients as well over in the Middle East, so 200, which I can service over there. But, I prefer it over here, And I've been sitting down with a lot of expats, a lot of people have been coming to me now, lots of nationalities. And there's just very good business over here for me. There's a lot of people that need financial advice and they need a financial planner. It's been a bit difficult with the pandemic and the coronavirus. We'll probably discuss that now. How have you found that yourself, from a business perspective?
I think you're right on. That's the reason why I was attracted to Vietnam. I started my career in China about 15 years ago in terms of manufacturing, trade, and everything's moving down to Vietnam. And so a lot of the companies I help are from China that are trying to source in Vietnam now, and then especially with the trade war. going on. So
Yeah.
I've seen business kind of spike.
Of course.
And I've always had my eye on Vietnam. Growing up in America, I've always kind of followed Vietnam, the economy, and what was happening. And then I finally came to a point about 3 years ago when I said, if I don't move now, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
So I decided to jump in, and I'm glad I did, because I think there's so much opportunity, as you mentioned.
Sure.
There's so much change going on, and it's an exciting place. Back where you're from and where I'm from, it kind of gets stagnant after a while.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fancy a change of life and everything, different scenery.
Yeah.
For sure.
So do you see in finance a lot of growth opportunities in the next 5 to 10 years, then, would you say?
I do, especially in Asia. It's very attractive for people as well. I know a lot of companies similar to mine are now moving into Asia. Places like Hong Kong, Singapore, China, economies that are now sort of at the top, in my opinion. Like you said, Vietnam is sort of at the bottom of the spectrum now, so lots of opportunities coming over here as well. And I think lots of people are, starting to open their eyes and see what there is over here to come over. Yeah.
Now, before we go, Ben, if there's someone out there that's thinking about Vietnam, Southeast Asia,
Sure.
what would you say to someone that's in his or her early 20s and they want to come over here? What's your suggestion or advice?
Yeah, just give it a good go. When you're young, you've got nothing to risk in life. The world is effectively, as my dad used to say to me, your oyster. There's lots of opportunities in Vietnam. Do your research as well before you come over. There's lots of things that you can get involved in from a career perspective as well. Not just in the financial industry. You've got things like hospitality, even education over here as well. Lots of expats, seem to have moved abroad, and they are now studying within Vietnam. They're coming out with master degrees as well, and they're going into the different industries around here.
Right.
So. Again, it's got a great balance over here. It's a cheap way of life as well, a really good lifestyle. And for a young person, who's looking to travel and experience the world, I think Vietnam is a great opportunity, for sure.
I think you're right. And I think if you're early or you're young, you have a lot of time, like you said, and you can always go back to where you came from, right? If it doesn't work out, or for some reason it wasn't the change that you wanted, you can always go back to.
For sure.
Right? So before we take off, if people want to connect with you or follow up, where would they do that?
Yeah, for sure. So I've actually got a YouTube channel myself. I'm sure the link will be put in the description box below. So Benjamin Daggett is my channel. So for people who are looking for a bit more information on financial advice as an expatriate living abroad, or they're unsure where to get started, just follow on to my channel, and there's some brief videos on there as well. I've also got an expatriate group in Vietnam. So for expats and locals, it's called Connect This World Vietnam. So again, that's myself.
Okay, I've heard of that, I've seen it.
Yeah, great stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good group. So again, like we said, people who are looking to move to Vietnam and they've got questions to ask or they're unsure on anything, they can go over, they can join the group, ask a question. There's lots of people on there, expats from all different nationalities and different ways of life. And I'm sure they'll be happy to answer your questions on there as well. But, get involved, have a look at these things, and good opportunities.
All right. Thanks, Ben. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.